Our story opens when a girl is rejected by a boy, a heartbroken scene. This girl is Keiho Nikaido, from the richest family, treated like a princess by everyone, including locals and teachers, who are obsessed with her family. She's very famous among her friends and has never had anyone mad at her. She comes to Kasumi's house for her spring, where a boy named Kota Shinohara appears. He tells her he's just a student and the landlord asked him to help because of some business reasons. They both are nice to each other. She decides to help the workers but fails badly. She moves to take her kokeshi that her brother gave her and moves blindly, almost hit by a truck but is saved by a Sigma boy who shows attitude and can't even tell his name, then moves out. She thinks he's her first love, whom she rejected. Shinohara asks her if she's okay, and at the same time, Chiaki Yakuchi appears, telling her she's now fallen in love with that boy at first sight and she has to do something about it. Atsushi Taga comes and tells them to be quiet because the neighbors are getting disturbed. Taga is a cold person. She leaves all this and moves to the terrace, thinking about today's incident when she suddenly sees that boy. She becomes unbelievable, but it's true, he lives there too. She becomes out of control and says, "I love you," but his reaction is opposite. He asks her to go on a date if she wants. She cannot sleep properly and keeps thinking about him. She meets him, and he tells her his name is Kanade Takahashi and he's in primary school. Now she's his girlfriend, and she's happy about it. He introduces her to his friends, Jinjiro and Tomo Kaneko, and they leave for school. Chiaki congratulates her and mentions he's the lonely young man who lost his mother in the 3rd grade, making her feel bad. In school, they do naughty things. She sees Kanade running fast to his friend Jinjiro because his wiener is in a bad place, and he starts praying that his wiener goes away and goes somewhere into the sky. He did a totally dumb thing. They see a dog and laugh because they think Jin's wiener went to that place. She's about to leave when he stops her and tells her to play tip-top tag with them, as it's a popular game in Japanese primary schools that can be played wherever there's a high ground. They play different games and behave like children. She's about to leave and bumps into Taga, but he doesn't mind and moves out. She goes back to see them playing different games in the park and they start talking about another boy who's amazing and crazy cool, who also comes there. Kanade tells her not to cheat on him with anyone, and she starts thinking about that boy. The boy introduces himself as Kazuo Noguchi, also in primary school, which relaxes her. She falls down, so he gives her a hand to stand up, but Kanade mentions she's his girlfriend, which is a little embarrassing for Kazuo. Jinjiro finds an emergency, so he puts his hand into his pants to find the most suitable spot for his wiener. Everyone tells him not to touch them with his hand because it's creepy, but he starts touching all of them with his hand. He's about to touch her, but Kanade saves her and tells her that his mother taught him to help a girl in trouble, and he'll protect her at any cost. They all move back to their houses. The next morning, she wakes up, and Kanade invites her for breakfast. She thinks that Kazuo is against their relationship. She comes to the kitchen and meets Shugo Takahashi, Kanade's father, who tells her that his child is a little naughty but kind, so she should treat him like her little brother. Suddenly, a boy comes and tells her she's so cute, impressing her, even though she doesn't know him, but he stops when he sees Chiaki. She comes to know he is Arashiro Nagasawa, a grad student and Chiaki's boyfriend. After that, she is about to have breakfast when Kanade brings seaweed from her, but his father stops him. She finds it a loving gesture, and Taga decides to explain everything about the house to her. Kanade asks her what people do when they are dating, which makes her uncomfortable as she's sitting with everyone, but Taga controls the situation and mentions that Kanade is talking about some TV program. Kanade starts asking Arashiro about it, who tells him if they're dating, they should call each other and inform about everything. He innocently asks her about Virgin, and Taga tells him to eat it and hang out with friends. Taga shows her the whole house and mentions there will be a welcome party for her in his room tonight. She goes to put the card boxes out when Kanade suddenly comes and grips her upper arms, creating a romantic scene and mentioning he can touch her as she's his girlfriend. At the same time, his friend arrives, and he tells her about the jump rope competition held in their school, mentioning he's a crisscross pro. Crisscross is a highly difficult version of jumping rope where the jumper passes through the gap formed when the rope is crossed. It's a difficult game, but he can do it 30 times in a row, and no one has beaten his record. Kazuo also arrives, and she refuses to join them for some work, and they leave. Arashiro tells her that he likes boys dressed as girls and shows her his huge collection of dolls with which he's obsessed and cannot live without. He tells her that Chiaki accepts him like that, and partners should accept each other with all their good and bad traits if they love each other. There's no age that affects someone's love, so she shouldn't care about their age gap and should accept Kanade and build a good and strong relationship. She thanks him and moves to the playground, where they all talk about serious relationship topics and engage in naughty and deep talk. They decide not to tell her because she doesn't have a wiener, but she mentions she doesn't need one. Kanade takes it badly and gets depressed. Because of his mood, she mentions she also wants one, but they are so innocent and can't understand it, laughing about it. Kanade leaves because Taga tells him he saw a ladybug from the window, which is totally a childish thing, but she likes it. She goes to attend the welcome party in Taga's room, but she feels uncomfortable sitting alone with him. She is about to move when he grabs her hand, calling her a stupid girl who can't understand, and comes to his room. He mentions she is so stupid for falling in love with a little primary boy, and she cries. Kanade arrives and punches him, mentioning he has no right to hurt and make his girlfriend cry, so he should be aware of that, as he'll always be there to protect her. Kanade asks Shinohara about Virgin, and he cannot answer. Erasure tells them that having Virgin is a fantastic thing and having it makes them great mages. They all get excited, wanting to be virgin. Erasure tells them they are all virgin already, and he is also one of them. They are innocent boys who have zero knowledge about anything. She cannot eat cod roe properly because it is a massive nuclei inside the female cod's belly. She finds it so difficult to eat the last piece, but Kanade eats it. She is happy about it. She sees Taga and remembers the night event. She ignores him. Chiaki comes and tells them the opposite of love is not hate, it's indifference, and he cannot ignore her because he may have some feelings for her. She says there is no way he could like her, but he says maybe there is one way, and mentions being interested in someone else. Then he mentions Kanade. She cannot understand why he prefers Kanade over her. Kanade comes and invites her for a date because they are girlfriend and boyfriend. She does not want to do this because having a date with a primary schooler is a fun element in itself, but still goes. She finds him in the playground. Their friends also come. They decide to go on a date, and he asks her what people do when they meet because this is his first date. She mentions they go to some fun places and have fun together. He grips her hand and moves. She thinks they are going to some beautiful place. He gives her flowers and creates a romantic scene and kisses her. She also thinks they will go on a boat ride and have a romantic scene and kiss. This is her first date, and her emotions cannot control her. She comes back to reality, and they are both in the park. They start making a mountain of sand as a fun thing. She removes sand from his face, and they start making a tunnel. They both hold hands inside the tunnel, creating a little romantic scene. Chiaki comes and tells her she had a good date compared to her, as Erasure is getting busy taking pictures of his doll on their date. They sit together and start talking about their boyfriends, as both are nice and good looking. She also has fun with him, as this date is far from romantic, but she enjoys it. After that, he takes her to a candy store. His friends are already there. Kazuo also comes there. Kanade starts playing with a ball with his friend. She eats candy and waits for him. They all play very well, but when he remembers he is on a date, he goes back to her. They are moving back to their house when she tells him Taga and Kazuo are against their relationship. He mentioned that having obstacles in love only fans the flame of love, nothing else. She finds it interesting and nice. He gives her a candy to eat and moves, but she tells him she cannot eat and walk together, so he feeds her. They reach home and he demands a goodbye kiss. She does, but he mentions they will do a couple kisses and kisses her in a good way and moves out. She cannot believe this because it's her first date, but she feels ashamed because Shinohara catches her. She moves. Chiaki tells him this is a very bad thing to see a girl kissing someone, so he tells her he has feelings for her, and she should not mock his feelings. Erasure advises him to tell her his feelings now. What will happen? Is there getting stronger? Or maybe she is fed up with his childish behavior and left him? Please comment on it. Please subscribe to our channel for the next part.